We're now going to move away from our layout and focus on alignment. A lot of what we cover in this video is similar to the Flexbox, where we align items at the start, end, center, or stretch to fill the space. Currently, the items are taking up all the available space, so we need to make the items a little smaller to align them. Let's first comment out the tracks, and these are the ones in the main section. So template columns and template rows. Then set a size for the items. So the items class, which we have just here. Let's first remove the padding and then add a height to the individual items of 60 pixels. Reload. We can see by default the items are set to stretch across the row. First, we're going to look at justify items, which we add to the container to affect all child items as a group on the row axis. A lot of these will be familiar already, such as end to place the items at the end of the row, and also start. So go over to the main section, which is the container for these grid items. And just here we can add justify items and set them to be end. Refresh. Now all the items are pushed to the end of the row. We also have start, and you can probably guess what this does too. This moves everything to the start. Remember this second item, which is just here, if we scroll back down, has more text, therefore it fills more of the available space. We can reinstate this so all the items move the same. So let's rename this item 2. And there we go, so all items are now equal. The default value for this is stretch. So let's replace start with stretch, and we should get the same effect which we began with. We also have center 2, and this will place all the items in the center of the row, with the width being determined by the content inside. We also have the option of baseline 2 if we're aligning to text. Next, we can also use align items. This also applies to the parent container, but affects the items along the column this time, rather than the row. To see this, we need some more height to work with. So inside the main section, let's make the main a little bit higher. So the height of 1200 pixels. And then we can set align items. And let's begin with center. Over to the browser, refresh. So now we have a taller main section and all the items are aligned to the center. We can see at the top we have an equal gap at the top here and also the bottom section too. I'm not going to go through all of these options because we can use the same values as we've just looked at and they all work the same way, but this time on the opposite axis. The next two properties we apply to the child items to control them individually. Let's reintroduce our item 1 class, and this can be any of the items. So let's just add this in, and then we can control this one individual item. Then back up to the main section, I'm going to comment out justify items and also align items too, so they don't interfere. Okay, so now we can go back up to the item 1, and then we can align an individual item, but this time we use justify self. So let's begin with end, and then over to the browser, refresh, and because this also works on the row, this pushes this blue item to the end. And in fact, I think this is being a little bit messed up with these grid columns. Yeah, it is now. So now we have all these items set to stretch, and then this individual item on the end of the row. Center will also do as expected and move this one item into the middle of the row. So change this to be center, and remember we have all the same properties available as we just looked at. So save and then refresh, and that's our item now in the center of this row. If we want this to be centered on the column rather than the row, we also have align self. So let's give this a go. And also set this to be the center. And now this is centered across the row and column. Using both justify self and align self together is a really easy way to center an item, both vertically and horizontally. This used to be a lot more complex before Grid and Flexbox. Let's go ahead and try one more. Align self, set this to the end, and take a look at this. And now the item is pushed to the bottom. So you can see we have lots of useful options when using the grid, which covers us for pretty much any type of layout we'll ever need.